people of the internet, also the Freedom Astrologer, once again here and bringing you a dose of freedom. Now, we're in video number 8 of this Spiritual Awakening series, and we're getting to the end, and just 3 videos to go. A tiny bit of a heads up, the next 2 ones are going to be a little bit more difficult, more darker, and the last one is going to again be where the light comes out. If you have been watching these videos, you can understand already that kind of like cyclical nature of this spiritual awakening that is going on within ourselves and outside sometimes. And we're just following these cycles. We're doing our best to understand these cycles and what happens to us and with us during these cycles. And we just have now come out of, and again, if you haven't watched the previous videos, please do go on. The link is in the description below. Go watch those. And now the last few phases were more pleasant. We rose through the ashes like the phoenix and kind of understood our power, and also started to help others and to transform others through that empowerment and putting our work out there. But now, like every cycle, once we do that, once we start putting our work out there, we go deeper within ourselves, we go deeper with others. Now comes what I call phase 8, the crisis of faith. And I think it suits us that I have chosen a chart here to explain this to you as such. So one of the main bringers of crisis in astrology, in life, is Pluto. Pluto is the planet that rules crisis. And now in this example, as you can see, I've put Pluto just on the cusp of the 9th house, which is a lot to do with our belief in the world, belief in future, how we see the world, how we think about the world. The father is a lot to do with the 9th house and mentor figures, teacher figures. And just want to mention also phase 8 and phase 9, the video I'm going to do next, are quite similar. There are some differences, but they are very often, I think, they melt together. But I just wanted to keep like kind of differentiate some of the things that happen in these phases, and that's one of the reasons why I dissected the 2 phases and videos. But now and I wanted to also add here that very often this is not only about Pluto in 9th, but it is Pluto again in hard. We've talking about Pluto in hard aspects to the ascendant ruler. This is also all valid. By a hard aspect, we mean always opposition or square, and sometimes conjunction. And also in this case, we want to talk about, in this example, we have, you can see that Pluto just entered the 9th house, that can already bring a crisis of general faith. Like, what do I believe in? Do I believe in the things that I'm preaching? Do I believe in the things that I'm teaching in the world? And were my experiences valid? Did I suffer enough? Did I cleanse myself enough? These are all the things that might be coming up, these ideas and thoughts. And you can see in this specific example, it's very much like a double whammy kind of situation, where we have Pluto actually starting to make an opposition to the moon here as well. And it's important because in this chart, the moon is the chart ruler, the ascendant, or the person's ruler. So the person is getting like a double dose of spiritual awakening, and I would say more of the hardest or harder parts of that. And remember, guys, ninth house is a lot to do about teachers and mentor figures as well. So these people might seem not as healthy as as before. And I wanted to mention also, not only is Pluto in the ninth house a valid um, starter of this type of faith crisis, but also when we're talking about the ninth house rulers as well. So in this case, Neptune. So you can see this Pluto in this example is starting to make a sign-based square to the Neptune here. Now it would also be because the traditional ruler of Pisces, or in this case the ninth house, is Jupiter. So it would be also valid if Pluto would do a square opposition, sometimes conjunction to Jupiter as well. And Jupiter in general in our charts, even if it doesn't rule the ninth house, is all about beliefs, teachers, mentors, how we see the world. So when Jupiter is in a hard aspect with Pluto, you can also understand that sometimes a crisis of faith comes. So what does a crisis of faith mean, really? You know, as you've watched these videos, you understand that these are steps that we've gone through this spiritual awakening, and we found the empowerment, we found the gifts, we found the skills, we found the spiritual gifts, and we transformed, we did all that stuff. And now we thought, we had it all, and we went into the world and we started putting work out there, and we thought we would help others to transform and help others through similar situations. But now the world kind of hits us in our faces. And also want to say Saturn in the ninth house, Saturn with the ninth house ruler, can do similar things, a little bit different, but still can bring a crisis of faith there. Now the world kind of smacks us in our faces, and a lot of people don't even care what we have to say. A lot of people don't even understand what we have to say. Some of the teachers are kind of funny and weird, and some of the things we used to think are true and seemingly worked before in the world, and we started to do the work, and with some people it worked. Now it seems like nothing is working, nothing is making sense anymore. Sometimes it's an external crisis, sometimes it's an internal. Very often it starts almost internally, then expands externally. And like I would say 50% of the times it can do the opposite as well. Meaning start from the outside, maybe a teacher figure, mentor figure kind of betrays you, or kind of the things they taught turn out to be not true. Or maybe you saw a lot of it during the Me Too movement. These teachers, or some teachers, were not doing the best things with women, and whoever we look up to, it's the darkness is brought to light as well. But again, when darkness is brought to light about the things that we believe, about the things or people and mentors who kind of guided us and helped us, then very much and very often the person him or herself starts to go into, okay, so if this is wrong, or if this doesn't make any sense, everything I believed in kind of falls on its belly, falls flat on its stomach, and flat on its face. So what do I even believe in? Can I even believe in some of the things that these people taught me and they were for me? But now I'm seeing, these people are quite dark in their essence, and that type of crisis can come to you in that sense. And obviously you can see some of the things you are preaching in some certain situation don't work, and you start to understand that these things don't work in every kind of situation, and you need to shift and transform the things, and you need to go deeper, even more so, to make sense of it all. And we're going to talk about in the last video how the pieces start to come together again. But yeah, some of the things, some of the notes I wrote here were like, even if some of the teachings and lessons you've learned don't work constantly, it's so important to understand that they work during a specific phase very often. What does that mean? Like something that works during, the dark night of the soul, or even phase 2, doesn't even, make sense anymore during phase 9, or sorry, we're phase 8, crisis of faith. So you can't anymore use the same tools, the same transformational things that you learned, and that can also bring about a new kind of faith, or new crisis of faith, because a lot of the things don't work. And like, what do I believe in if even these don't anymore work? So again, this triggers kind of like the path to darkness again, to learn and to grow more, to understand more deeply, to discover new tools, to discover more things about yourself. So this is the gist of this. The old things don't work anymore. Your old ways of doing things don't work anymore. Or maybe they work a little here and there, but you can see some of the gears turning and it's kind of failing and it's not making sense anymore. And this can, really trigger you into a dark hole at first, where the gist again is to start unraveling the meaning of that hole, and to start unraveling what is the thing that you're actually learning in this moment. And yes, the dark night of the soul is difficult, but right now, when you're entering into crisis of faith, for example, when you're there, you might be listening to this and watching this, and I'm kind of makes sense what you're saying. It is a different kind of animal, because it's so deep, and we thought we knew all these things, and we knew all these matters, and we kind of had these tools, and we thought we made it in a way. We made it through the darkness, we made it through the light, and we found the power. And now again, part of the world starts crashing down upon us, and it's seemingly we need to go again deep into that discovery of our own soul, psyche, emotions, feelings, pain, and so on and so forth. And even, from a material perspective, things out there in the world that can help us, that can guide us. And this can be quite difficult, as you can imagine, guys. And don't want to freak you out too much. Like I said, we have 2 more, phase 9, phase 10. One of them is again a little bit more difficult, and the last one, I promise you, this is where it all starts to make sense again, and we kind of put everything together. Thank you guys for watching, listening this one. I know it's a long series. Hopefully these kind of cycles already make sense to you, and we're almost at the end. Thank you for making it so far, and see you again soon in the next video.